Brother Fawaz, the guy that's helping these six-figure entrepreneurs get to seven figures. And we've got the tech tycoon, the biggest community of Muslim tech guys in the West.
Taking the brothers from 0 to 1, they're able to support, protect the women around them.
I'm trying to make a lobby for the Muslims that's gonna have the combined net worth of trillions in assets.
And I'll have Muslims out there talking bad on mine. This is real talk, bro.
So the Prophet would not allow the Sahaba to beef like that.
Anyone who's coming to me with stories is just as bad as the guy who created the story in the first place.
I actually benefit this from one of my ops, man, back in the Dawah days. I won't mention who. I remember he said, okay.
Fair play.
I said, you're bougie. You're bougie.
Because it's dangerous when you realise as a man what you're actually capable of.
I say it's dangerous when you realise what you're actually capable of.
Yeah.
Who's the danger towards? Just a quick question. Did you know that the majority of millionaires are made through real estate? Now, this was crazy to me when I found out, because obviously as a businessman, as an entrepreneur who's trying to make as much money as possible, you'd focus on the thing that's driving people the most amount of results. And there's decades and centuries of proof that real estate helps create millionaires. But then there's one fundamental issue, which is that as a Muslim who's trying to fear Allah Azza wa Jal, not engage in riba and interest, it's very hard to engage in real estate. Because if you don't have that upfront capital to invest, you need to take a loan. But there's going to be riba, interest, and then no one wants to start a war with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which is why I believe it's such a blessing that we have people like Brother Sam Amin in our ummah today, who actually took the initiative to create models and infrastructure to help Muslims invest and make millions through real estate without even a single debt, without a penny of riba. Brother Sam Amin has over $100 million of Muslim money invested in real estate, 100% riba free. His investors are Fortune 100 senior executives, and some of the investors that have invested in his projects have become millionaires on the back of the investments they've done with him. And I have personally met some of them with the permission of Allah Azza wa Jal. Currently, there are projects in Medina, the city of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is 100% oversubscribed. Projects in the US, and there are some very exciting projects here in Dubai. The investors are seeing double-digit returns in as short as just 1 year. This is a crazy and ridiculous opportunity. Now, initially, you had to have $100,000 minimum to invest in these real estate projects with Amin Developments. But now, alhamdulillah, an infrastructure has been set up and created for you guys to be able to enter with as little as $50,000. That's right, $50,000, 100%. Put towards a riba-free project with double-digit returns within 1 year. This is a crazy and ridiculous opportunity. So if you guys want to find more information about how you can get involved and more details on the project and see if you qualify and eligible to be part of his investors, click on the link below, fill in the form, and get on a call to one of his team members. With that said, let's get back to the podcast. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Guys, welcome back to another episode of Chai Ma Bai. It's Ramadan now, and I've got two very special guests with me. We've got none other than the Prince of Nigeria, Allama Barik, the guy that's helping these six-figure entrepreneurs get to seven figures, not through marketing or sales, but through the power of the mind. Allama Barik. Brother Fawaz, how you doing, akhi?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good,
MashaAllah. We've got the tech tycoon, Mr. Murrad, Allama Barik. How you doing, akhi?
I'm keeping well, man.
The biggest community of Muslim tech guys in the West, as far as we're aware,
as far as we
helping
know.
Brothers secure six-figure jobs. Sisters as well, right?
Sisters as
MashaAllah,
well.
tabarakallah, working remote. Allahumma barik, doing your thing, man. How you guys doing, bro?
Keeping well, my brother. Alhamdulillah, keeping well. And
man.
I didn't actually know that you were coming on, you know.
Yeah, I seen your name in the group chat. I got gassed.
Yeah, that was a surprise, bro. That was a surprise. When I saw, I was like, yeah, okay, cool. This is going to be a vibe.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Brothers, look, so this podcast out now is Ramadan, right? What I wanted to discuss with you guys is something a bit deep. So there is always, over the last 100 years, there's been this separation of deen and work, as if to say that they're two separate things, right? As in, if I'm worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal, that's the only way to get to the akhirah. And then what I do in terms of work, that's dunya. To the point where you have this dichotomy, you have this dilemma. People are like, akhi, I don't know how to balance deen and dunya. It's not even two separate things. Like, what people don't realize is that the path that Allah Azza wa Jalla made to the akhirah is through the dunya. You know, we did that for a second. The path Allah made to get to the next life, which is going to be eternity, is through the dunya. So it's not like there's a path to paradise that's just worship and ibadah, and there's a path which is dunya, which is just work. No, they're all one in the same path. It's just that who you working for, who you building your businesses for, who you building your projects for. If you're doing it just so you can eat, drink, fornicate, defecate, that's a different story. But if you're doing it for a greater cause, then there's complete alignment here. And one of the things I wanted to do this Ramadan was because everyone's focused on that spiritual side, which is going to be the foundation, right? Ramadan is about siyam, fasting, Quran, tawbah. But when you look at the Sahaba, you see that worship led them to work. The two W's, that worship led them to work. You see, we were talking about in the car, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, he took that deal on and then he went and hustled and became the richest man, some say in history, right? Uthman took that on and he got to work. Talq ibn Ali, he took that deal on and he became an engineer. He was the best at crafting the bricks to build the masajids. The point that the Prophet ﷺ would say, let him build the bricks. Even he would carry the bricks that he would make and say, no one else touch it because he's the best at crafting and designing that. So having you guys here, I wanted to kind of just break down how you managed to build successful businesses that serve the deen. Because you guys are actually doing a mad service. At the same time, people that fear Allah Azza wa Jal, your deen is first, right? But you didn't find that dichotomy between, okay, cool, I want to worship Allah, but I got to do business. It was like, no. I'm going to make this service that I'm doing. I'm going to eat from it and make money and enjoy like the Prophet ﷺ did. He enjoyed things from the dunya. But the coolness of his eyes was found in the salah. So let's start actually, man, with you, Fawaz, bro. Because you got into business and your stuff had nothing to do with religion. Like you had investments, Allah Barik, a portfolio that I think by the end of this year you should be on 10 million, Allah Barik, right? And the overall majority of it's got nothing to do with any service that you provide for the Muslims, but you still went out there and created your performance mastery coaching to help Muslims perform at a higher level in their businesses and whatever else it is. What brought that on, bro?
Yeah, barakallahu feek. I think that's a really key question. For me, from the beginning, you learn that you want money because of all of these dunya things, right? Because you want to be able to have access to X, Y, Z. You want to be able to do X, Y, Z. So in the beginning, the main intention is just money, right? You want to be able to take care of mommy, all of those things. And those are great things to have, right? But then you get to a certain stage where that no longer satisfies you, right? And then you get to that stage where it's like, you don't feel the need to get up anymore, to keep hustling, to keep working hard. Because quite frankly, all the things that you first initially wanted when you set out to build businesses, you've achieved them, all right? And that's where the purpose of this greater why comes in, right? And if you're a businessman, you're a businessman. It's your bread and butter, right? So it's like, how can I connect what I do with my why? And you realize that's the only way to do something in its best way. The more connected you are to something, the better you're going to perform at it, right? And then, again, I started off, okay, let me help Muslims with business, right? So you start helping Muslims with business and,
But why? Again, but why did you want to help Muslims with business?
Right, because when you look at it, people come to you and you're like, yeah, akhi, I want help, etc. And you're like, look, you know what? Imagine the Muslims were stronger financially. That's actually a plus, right? It's a pro. It's good. The better we are as Muslims and the more things, and I seen the life I was able to access through money, right? Okay. The amount of, you're able to travel, you can do Umrah whenever you want, etc. That freedom.
You went to Egypt, you studied there.
Exactly. Being able to study and not depend on anybody financially, etc. So it's that sort of freedom. That's what I wanted for, people as well, right? And people ask you like, akhi, da. So you think like, look, let me actually serve my community here, right? I've tried mentoring kafirs, like non-Muslims, and quite frankly, it's just I don't know what to talk to them about. I really do my best, but I just noticed again that's not something I want to do, right? So that's when I started to mentor, of course, Muslims on business, and then obviously I realized like there's a bit of a bigger problem, right? In terms of the way Muslims think today and the way we operate, it's a bigger issue than the knowledge on business within itself, all right? And that's when then it became to me like, if I can help a Muslim man perform to the highest level, like his highest potential, right? He's able to worship Allah properly, right? In the best way he can. He builds businesses. And when you work, and the main reason why I love working with Muslims, right? Muslim entrepreneurs, is because those entrepreneurs also build businesses that serve other Muslims, right? So if I can get them to the highest level of performance, quite frankly, then they can perform to a high level, they can serve more people, right? So there's this knock-on effect, more people benefit. And that's where, you know, for me, it became clear, like, if I didn't have a connection as to why I'm doing this, yani, and it wasn't for the sake of Allah, there's always going to be that disconnect when I'm working, yani, and with my relationship with Allah, like it's two are separate from each other. And when they're in harmony, wallahi, you feel much more at peace.
Barakallah feek, man. What about you, Murrad, bro? Because obviously, just so people are aware, you've obviously got the engineers, right? Which is a community for people that are in the tech space. And you also, Alarm Barik, help train people. You articulate it better than me.
Yeah, of course. Alhamdulillah, I founded The Engineers, which is one of the largest Muslim in tech communities in the UK. Also founded a boot camp known as Code Co. Alhamdulillah, we've helped loads of Muslims get into the tech space. Loads, bro. You know, have starting salaries 40, 50, 60K.
And these guys had no tech background,
bro,
right?
No background, no degree. Some of them are 19, making 45K, you know, getting a sense of security and building skills that they can leverage in the long term, especially in the digital age that we're in. You know, really believe in the mission we're providing. But you actually touched upon an interesting point earlier where you were talking about that conflict of interest, right? Between being a successful Muslim plus sort of being practicing, right? And I grew up around that narrative where if you are financially successful, it is almost as if there's a stigma where you can't also be practicing. I grew up in the ends where, you know, it was like, okay, if you're religious, you need to be incredibly simple. Or, oh, you can't buy that nice car because of evil eye. These were the constant objections I've heard. And I always just heard that narrative of, oh, you know, if you don't want more wealth, you don't want money because you're going to be more tested on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Things like that. I never heard you want to make money to empower others. You want to make money to, you know, that could be the reason why you go Jannah, you know, being financially successful. I never heard that other side of the story. So I actually grew up quite reserved in that sense, right? And then later on, when I started to actually, you know, make money, do certain things, I realized the impact that I could have was just tenfold, which is why I started creating, you know, a boot camp, paid systems and things in place so we can have that impact. You can never have that same impact unless you have.
So what's the
money.
impact you're trying to have? Like, what's the impact you're trying to bring about for the Muslims?
I want 1,000 Muslims making 6 figures in the tech space roles. And once you're able to leverage that skill, you could go into entrepreneurship, you could offer these services. And once you have that sense of security, I think it's so important for young Muslims, especially when they don't want to go down the university route, they don't want to be taking loans. Things aren't necessarily that accessible to you, right? So that's what really drove me to push what I've done. And bro,
so let me ask you a question. So what is I don't know if you've deeped this before, but what does a world where you've achieved that look like? Like, how does the ummah look differently now that you've inserted 1,000 trained Muslims in the tech space that are all doing 6 figures plus Alarm Barik? That means that these guys are great at their skill. They're qualified. They're probably in big positions, in big companies. What? That's not a joke, right? 1,000 practicing brothers who are maybe one Donny's working here and Facebook and this. Now, what is that? What's the utility there for the ummah?
The utility is incredibly powerful because we're currently in a time where no one's coming to help us. Constantly waiting for companies to be more inclusive, more diverse, waiting for the system to cater for us isn't going to change the narrative. If we take ownership and we have all these Muslims very successful in the tech space, we have that representation. You know, this can go and spiral into, you know, we're getting tech-funded startups by other Muslims where we're really taking, you know, real ownership and having a real impact in multiple industries.
You know the tech startup thing, bro, is very powerful because, look, I've been looking a lot recently at what makes a nation powerful. The reason I've been doing that is because obviously my background is da'wah, right? Likewise yours, right? Pardon the interruption, but in case you ever wanted to move to Dubai, I've got something very special for you. As you may be aware, myself and Abu Bakr moved to Dubai and Sharjah last year. It was one of the best decisions that we ever made for our deen, our families, and our businesses. Living here is amazing. You've got a masjid in almost every single street, unparalleled safety and security. You've got lessons from mashayikh and different teachers and students of knowledge in English and Arabic, and no income tax. Now, how do you move here? That's a question that you might be asking. Well, it can be tough if you don't know your way around things. Sometimes the companies that help you get visas here, they got hidden fees, long waits, big problems, resulting in visa rejections, a lot of wasted money and time. This is where Ansar Consultants comes into play. They helped us set up everything. No hidden fees, no long waits. They kept it simple and honest. I got my visa in less than a month. And these guys have a 100% track record helping brothers get their visa so far. 100% track record, that's insane. Allah Mabarak. Now, if you're thinking of moving to the UAE, I recommend Ansar Consultants. They can even help you invest in properties here with a 100% Sharia compliant contract. So if you want a smooth move like we did, click the link below and check out Ansar Consultants. Now, back to the podcast. And then obviously in the da'wah space, we're only focused on one thing, which is getting people to just commit to worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and leave off their sins and just dedicate their life towards His deen, which is foundational and fundamental. It's the most important thing. There's nothing more important than that. But that alone is not going to be enough for you to get that victory. Because as we said at the beginning, you've got to take that worship and you've got to channel it to serve the ummah from different perspectives, right? So what makes a nation powerful? One thing is population size. Makes sense to me now where the Prophet ﷺ said, marry women that want to have loads of children and have loads of kids because I want to have the biggest nation on the Day of Judgment. You know, when you got loads of, like China is not a threat purely because of their no, bro, they got an army that's bigger than some countries. Do you know what I'm saying? Like population size. Number two is economy. You got to have a very strong economy. Because if you got a lot of people, but everyone's broke and everyone's just struggling to eat, don't benefit no one. The third thing is media, very strong media, right? Journalists, whatnot. There's other things, without going through the whole list, technology is one of them. Technology is one of them. And you know, one thing if you deep in the Quran, when Allah talked to Dawood, I talked about Dawood alayhi salam. Allah said to Dawood, أَنْ يَعْمَلْ سَابِغَاتْ وَقَدِّرْ فِي السَّرْدِ. He was creating the chainmail armor. And he made it so precise. Now think about it, right? Was it iron? Iron, people couldn't wear iron, bro. Like, imagine you're wearing iron in battle. Suddenly now your army's defense has multiplied. Because swords and arrows and spears can't get through. But who can wear iron? So he invented chainmail. He had to make the link so precise that it wasn't big enough such that the arrow can get through and wasn't tight enough such that the soldier couldn't move. So he created this technology that changed history. You know what I'm saying? So technology, it changes warfare, which changes strength, it changes and now AI, bro, like surgeries, open heart surgeries are taking place with robots, right? The war between Ukraine and Russia is being fought on the back of drones. Guys that are just sitting there with remote controls. Those PlayStation guys, now they got a job. They're sitting with remote controls, but they're doing their thing. So it's so important that we as Muslims have representation in the tech space because it just isn't there. But there's a brother, and you guys are going to see him on Tuesday, inshallah, Wednesday, he's coming in to do a talk at the retreat for the brothers. He manages a $160 million fund, and he only invests in startups in the MENA region. And he told me yesterday, he sent out a letter to his investors, the annual investment, the letter you send out to your investors. He's like, bro, the game is changing now, man. Muslims are actually now starting to create crazy projects that are coming out of the Muslim world that actually can now be a challenge towards the West and also a solution for the Muslims. So what you're doing right there, Akhi, I'll be honest with you, bro. Crazy potential, bro, to actually change the state of the ummah, bro.
Bro, I see it firsthand with clients that I've worked with. You know, as soon as I'm just simply implementing AI into their business automation, bro, you know, sometimes Muslims have a very legacy mindset when it comes to technology, where they're quite adverse to it. They're not really, you know, open to that change. As soon as I implement automation in certain businesses, they've saved hours monthly. You know, they can now operate in certain ways. They can be more hands-off. They can focus on other areas of their business, implementing AI. A lot of people can think, and I want everyone at home to kind of take this away of, you know, I don't need AI. I don't need to use it. You don't want to be left behind. You don't want to be left behind in this sort of industry where you've missed out on utilizing something and now your competitors have just blown you out the water,
man. Barakallah feek. Fawaz, let me throw that same question to you, bro. What are you trying to achieve in the next, what's his thing is 1,000 Muslim tech guys, 6 figures plus. What's your version of that?
Yeah, the idea for me is the top people in this space
Mm-hmm.
to be performing at the highest level.
So you say top people, break that down.
Like,
Who are the top
I'm
people?
talking like the guys making 100 mil a year,
Mm-hmm.
you know, 10 mil a year, just the top people in the space. Because there's something I've realized, right? If you look at the Prophet ﷺ,
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
the first people to actually take the Shahada to come to Islam, they had the highest impact in terms of leading others to Islam after them.
Yeah.
All right?
Abu
So
Bakr,
it's-
Uthman.
Precisely. So it's all about leverage.
Mhm.
And that's the quickest thing I had to understand, right? It's all about leverage. It's what people say to me, like, you know, obviously we all want Jannah Firdaus, and it talks about that later vision that we all want to achieve. But what you quickly understand is, in order to get to Jannah Firdaus, one of the things that is going to really benefit you is being as beneficial to the people. We all know the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he mentions that the more people who are the most beloved to Allah are the ones who are the most beneficial to the people. So when you look at it, it is best to be either what, like you always mention, a student of knowledge, right? A da'i who's giving the knowledge, or an entrepreneur who's benefiting people. Because those are two of the people who have the greatest impact in terms of like they can benefit like a huge volume of people. And that's ideally because if I'm able to benefit one person in terms of he can become a high performer, right? How much more people can he benefit then? How much other things can he benefit? So it's like, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, that's all on your scale. You made that happen, right? Through your deeds alone. And that's the thing that always gets me thinking. If I work hard in this dunya and I hustle and I try to be the best slave of Allah, right? At maximum, I'm only going to live for 60 years, maybe 80 years, wallahu alam, right? That's the age of the ummah. But if you can benefit as much people as possible, you've built something that you benefit from. It's a sadaqah jariyah. Your principles are being used. People are benefiting from you even after you pass, right? So in terms of leverage, the most leveraged way is to benefit as much people as possible.
So are you working towards a goal where you can say, all right, cool, I've achieved it? Like a day where you can be like, yeah, I reached it.
Honestly, I don't think there'll ever be that for me.
Okay.
Is what I've realized. Like we have like sub goals, but as soon as that's completed, surely there's another one, right? But I suppose what we're working right now towards is, you know, just every single entrepreneur that makes, you know, that from that 10 million mark down to like at least making 100K per year, we are trying to get them to live through design, right? To get them to live through a framework that we've now created to work on so they can benefit in every aspect of their lives, right? Because one thing we noticed with entrepreneurs is they're too one-sided a lot of the time. So it's either they're heavily into business at one stage or they go heavily into ibadah or heavily into family. So our idea and our vision is a life in where they are high achievers in everything, all right? They're memorizing Quran, they're doing absolutely everything, right? And no area of their life is being, you know, left behind. That's my sort of vision that we aim to achieve. There's a lot of course, glare around it sometimes because you're fighting against, like, you know, people's belief systems and, you know, everything that the space preaches today. So it's a lot of work.
So look, on that note, yeah, let me throw something there. I don't know if this is bad of me, yeah. But you know that belief system thing is jarring, bro. Like 10 years giving dawah to people. Bro, I'm just trying to convince you, bro. Just don't be an idiot, bro. Just pray. You're gonna burn in hell, bro. Just pray. And man's like, oh, Mr. Salah. Why? Because I bashed. Oh, okay. Do ghusl. Oh, it's inconvenient. But you know how jarring that is? You know, like, I'll give an example. Today, one brother told me there's one youth here in the UAE. Right? He's like 16. He's a youth. Thinks he's bad. He's from the ends in the UK. His mum brought him here. He got caught in school here in the UAE, carrying a knife. Like straight away, bruv. When I heard that, I said, this youth, I know he's not bad. This youth is unique.
It's confused.
Because, bro, no one's carrying the greasiest thugs walking around in the UAE, bro, are not carrying any weapons, bro. It's not that place. There's no need. Like, that's just a guy who's just trying to show off in school. Do you get me? So point being is that, you know, that low IQ, that low intellect, from the youth all the way up to the adults, I kind of got sick of it. Even amongst the entrepreneurs, I realized, like, there's levels to this, bro. Like, some guys, it's like, bruv, Wallah, I'm suffering talking to you. Do you know what I'm saying? So now I made it I actually don't want to speak to anyone. Like, I don't even want to collaborate with anyone that's not doing at least 7 figures. That's not the only thing. There's other things as well. There's level of deen, whatnot, understanding of the religion, your goals, your values. But that's like straight away to be at that stage, you've got to have accomplished, you've got to have certain level of caliber, right? To be there. And yeah, I do mess with some brothers that are not at that level, but it's because I see in them the finesse that shows they're on that trajectory.
But I'd argue that.
Go on, good.
I'd argue that sometimes people being
So
like
if I can
7
mention- if I
figures
can
with
men-
their money.
If I just mention
Yeah.
this point, then you couldn't come in.
Yeah,
Because my thing was like, I just can't be bothered to take guys from 0 to 1. But going from 1 to 10, it's like, all right, cool. That's easy.
yeah.
Because we're just trying to, it's that leverage thing. Do you get me? But now, at the same time, I'm conscious that there's people that need help. But I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But go on, what's your thoughts here? Because I like to
Two
be challenged.
things. I like two thoughts I got there. Number
Go on.
one, I feel like sometimes how much people make isn't even an indicator of the value that they can provide. Like, I've spoke to 7-figure entrepreneurs and I'm just like, rah, like, is that your advice? Is that your input? And I think we previously spoke about it sometimes where sometimes money validates people and puts them in an authoritative position where they're now opinionated on things that they have no knowledge of, no expertise in. And you've probably encountered this as well. It is a baseline where, you know, it indicates that if you are making that sort of money, probably have some decent trade, some discipline.
So just to give some context, because I feel like I didn't do myself justice there, right? So obviously what we're trying to build is a community of powerful and influential Muslims. And of course, a byproduct of that is that they'll be able to help each other with business, do strategic partnerships, investments, kada, so on and so forth. But the whole idea is that you come together and you provide actual solutions for the ummah. That you build things for the ummah. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's a bunch of qualifiers that we have, like manners. If a guy's bad manners, like, you're goodbye. Like, I can't mess with you. You could have all the money in the world. You might even be the most knowledgeable guy in the world. But if you've got bad manners, I can't mess with you. Do you know what I'm saying? The reason I mentioned the 7 figures thing is the conscious entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
There's obviously other things to it. But it's like, I can't help a guy go from, make his first 10K a month. I don't even know how to do that.
But do you not think there's more gold in that work
I
you don't want to do in the hard graft? That 0 to 1, because this is where, like, I'm in a different position from you two. I'm really working with the 0 to 1.
And I rate that.
And it is tough.
Someone's got to do it though.
The ones that have dropped out of college, the ones that ain't
But my thing
completed.
is, who's taking the 7, 8, 9 figure guys
to the next level.
To the level of where it's not even to the next level. Like, you know, when you're a 7, 8 figure entrepreneur, and you're already doing business, and you're growing.
Yeah.
But my thing is to bring you together and help you multiply that. I'll give you an example. You know, just the last few righteous rides that we've had.
Yeah.
The last 4. You know what the transaction volume has been that I'm aware of in terms of deals that have been done?
Yeah.
Cash. Not cash, but like liquid transfers. $10 million plus.
Not bad.
Oh, my bad.
Do you know what I'm saying? That's because when you put a certain caliber, and by the way, you were there at the first one. We weren't even filtering like that.
Yeah, it wasn't even like that. It wasn't even that.
And we only just started filtering on the previous one. But it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Now, and those guys that are doing that, like, I'm seeing what their visions for the ummah are. I'm seeing what they're doing behind scenes. You know what I'm saying? And there's no one that's bringing those type of guys together.
So my question will be for both of you lot.
Yeah.
What do you think has more impact? Because my perspective is, I'm teaching a man how to fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's never been fishing. Right? I'm taking a man from 0, got him a stable job where he's growing his career. He's now making 6 figures, few years in. He can now get married. He can now have kids. Some element of stability. I've taught him how to catch a fish. You're dealing with man that already know how to fish, but you're now teaching them how to clean up the entire, you know, go grab that big fish there, grab a boat and take hundreds in instead of, you know, reaping in 10 a day. What do you think actually has impact, maybe on a higher level or granular level?
For me, I don't think there's a difference. I think they're just both as important as each other.
Yeah.
And the reason I'll say that is because a secondary school teacher is just as important as a primary school teacher. You can say this one works with a higher caliber of people, but he wouldn't be able to get there if it wasn't for the primary school teacher. And the primary school he can't advance him to where he needs to be. Has to be the secondary person to do him. And the thing I really believe is, like, these guys watch, by the way. I'm sure you've realized as well, like, the guys that haven't started, so even though we don't work with like a certain caliber of people, if you just look at the population of the earth, like how many people actually make more than 1 million plus, right? Versus how many thousands of views we get on a video, etc. It shows that they're watching. Even if we can't work with them directly, they're watching and they're benefiting from the content. We get messages from, I'm sure you guys do as well, right? Where it's like, I know you know, you're not talking to us, but it's still beneficial for us, right? Like it's still good. I'm benefiting from the content. May Allah bless you, keep it going. And I feel like seeing those people that we work with now is what gives them the motivation to even want to start fishing in the first place.
You make a fair point. And by the way, I just want to make clear, I'm not against helping people at that level. I think it's necessary and wajib.
It's a hard craft.
Yeah, it's very hard. And I rate, like even, for example, you know the brother that was here, the brother Abu Lahya, you know, his program's been running for 4 months, Allah Barik, for 5 months, sorry. And currently as it stands, he's got 100% success rate. The brother Jamal has got 89% success rate. Of course, for those that actually finish the program, right? Those that finish the program. I rate that, bruv. It's like, bruv, I did the Umrah setup and our success rate was about 20%. You know what I'm saying? Now, what you're doing, the level of work you guys are putting in to help your guys get those type of successes along back in such short time. You said a guy, you helped him get a job in how long? In 2 weeks from signing up. And he was upset that it happened so quick.
Yeah.
Because the program was supposed to be how long?
It was meant to be 3 months long. I ended up getting a job in 4 weeks and then, yeah.
But I'm saying I rate that.
Yeah.
My thing is, number one, that's not where my skill is. I notice I'm not good at that. I'm not good at because, I just don't have that patience. My thing is, bruv, even today, Akhi, I was smoking one of the guys that works for me. He was like, Akhi, I can't get this done. Like, I've tried, I'm trying. You know that word try? I actually despise that.
Yeah.
If I could take someone's tongue and rip it out when they say try, well, I would do that. Sorry, it sounds a bit aggressive, but my thing is, bruv, I don't want to hear the word try. Get the job done. Like, find a way. Do you get me?
Do you know what it is? I feel like I have both perspectives, right? Because we did the mind control program for so long.
Mind control was for guys that are not making money, right?
The guys that are below 6 figures, right? We even had some 6-figure guys in, but it was like everything under, right? We have guys making 20K, 30K, 50K entrepreneurship, and then you had guys that just haven't done nothing a day in their life. And I'm not just talking haven't done business, they genuinely haven't done anything with their lives. Like they probably just went to the school, followed the system and done nothing from there, right? And we seen it. And I felt like for me, when I knew I needed to move away, was when like, you know what I'm saying, I see their calls on my can and I start getting vexed. Now, I'll be honest
you don't
with you.
Want to
that's when,
you don't want to take the sales calls.
Because like, you know, I was like, and at times I was like, you know, I'm getting, you know, they're off. Obviously we have a sale price and I keep just increasing it. I keep increasing it until where it's like,
deters them.
I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, I can actually get on this call. Like, I feel like I've gotten enough. Because sometimes, like, what you don't realize is that market has two kinds of people. But that's the tough part. Has people that no matter what you do, they're just going to be there forever. And there's genuinely nothing you can do for them apart from make dua to Allah for them. And there's people that are just genuinely starving, but they just don't have the path. So it's always been like a battle for me of like, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I want to stop because half these guys are wasting my time. But if I stop, there's this like small, particular, tiny little group of people that actually want it and are actually ready, but they're not going to benefit.
You know what I started doing? Because, and by the way, I hope I don't come across like I'm putting those brothers down. Like I feel like maybe I came across.
There's levels to the game.
I'm not. I'm just talking about who
reality,
who I'm able to serve, right? But what I started doing is, and this might actually be a good move for you, to be honest. And maybe this could be a little deal that we make here. Is that I just have a partnership with brothers that I know are helping the B2C guys get their businesses or get their money up and running and just send that traffic there. Right?
Fair.
So anyone who comes into my funnel and they, for example, or show interest, like you don't qualify for our community or our events, I'm straight away sending them to, for example, the brother Abu Lahya or to the brother Ammar, which he's got the Muslimpreneur, or to the brother Jamal, who's got the Amazon FBA thing, right? To be honest, we need to break bread on that as well, inshallah. Likewise, you know, but my thing is obviously I vet all these guys first just to make sure that if I'm sending someone your way,
you're vouching for them. Serious.
It's scary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's scary. So which is why my first conversation with brothers like, what's the success rate like?
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, I understand it's not going to be 100, But it's like, I want to make sure you're delivering for these brothers. And then that way it's like, Akhi, I done my part in that. I'm not having to deliver that for you, but there's guys better than me that can serve you.
Yeah, do you know what it is? I think that people need to understand, like, this
So
isn't anything
you should do
bad.
that then. Like, if someone comes in your funnel and just send them in the other direction.
Yeah, 100%.
Send Murrad.
100%. Like, bro, he
Send
knows
them
that
my
I've been throwing people towards him. But,
Yeah.
you know, for us, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. People shouldn't see it as a bad thing, right? Like, growing up, we all wanted the designers, but we couldn't afford them. They didn't serve our kind of market, but it's what inspired us to go out and make money, for example, right? It's the same thing. Like, it's just about, I'm going to get to that stage and working towards that stage. But I believe, like, there has to be someone to work with everyone. And it's not that, for me, like, I really enjoy, like, I had an Umrah trip there. A majority of the brothers were making, you know, they were from, because the Umrah trip actually went out when I was working with that kind of market. Majority of the brothers, and I find that sometimes I'm even more comfortable around these guys, right?
What they were doing, they were making money?
Bit less than 6 figures. Some of them are on, like, you have the, like, you always have that small percentile that have made the money, but the bulk of them haven't made.
Can I be real with you? You know, when I came to the Umrah trip, right, because you invited me for a day, we were happy to be there. I was very impressed with those brothers, if I'm honest with you. Like, they didn't seem, Allahumma barik, like they seemed like they'll be making money soon, inshallah.
Yeah, that's because they took mind control.
Yeah, you know, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I can't lie, bro. You know, after I saw those guys, you left, right? Me and Sam sat down and we were like, Sam was actually the one who was like, bro, mashallah, Fawaz is doing his thing. Like, he's nurturing these guys. And obviously, shout out to Khidr, mashallah, connected with him there. Allahumma barik. But I was very impressed. I was like, you know what? MashaAllah, Fawaz doing something right. He's doing something right. Because those guys, yeah, you can see they've got they were asking the right questions. It wasn't like, what's an ad?
But I'll be honest here, I experienced the same thing that both you guys have experienced. Yeah, the people in my program, people in my first bootcamp cohort, things like that I've learned from and improved over time. Taking that person from 0 to 1 can be the hardest battle, especially if they've never applied themselves to anything in their life previously, right? It could be the hardest thing to change their mental, get them on board. But I kind of refuse to give up because, you know, when you take someone from 0 to 1
that's life.
And like you've changed their life, like I'm getting messages, paragraphs of, Akhi, I'm the oldest one in my family. I wasn't able to go university. I have younger siblings that look up to me. And I was, you know, a poor example. I couldn't get a career. And now you've got me into this position. Now I've reached one where I can support my family, give back, and I've got a skill where I'm going to develop. That was something that was keeping me going. And I'm still battling it to this day. Because when I take in a junior engineer to my program, within 6 weeks, wallahi, increased his salary by £24,000. If I grab someone from one, if you're a junior engineer and you join my program, high chance within 2 months, you could be doubling your salary. Multiple people. 20K minimum. It's so much easier to take someone from 1 to 10, 1 to 5. But taking them from that 0 to 1 is so hard. And a few things I've been doing that you guys might want to consider if you ever go down that route of working with them is having loads of qualifiers, right? I give 1 hour of my boot camp for free. I make them do a technical test around that to make sure that my style of teaching aligns with their style of learning. I put so many qualifiers and things in place to try and mitigate getting those people, because they can be like cancer, bro. Having those people in your community, in your course and things like that spreads.
And just to attack him on that, do you think, 2 questions, like, are you 1-to-1 with these guys?
Occasionally, generally my team will be more 1-to-1.
Perfect.
But I'll have sessions with them if they have an interview, mock interview, prep them.
And my second question, bro, is do you think you'll be able to serve them forever?
Listen, don't try to discourage him from it.
I'll be honest.
We need this.
No. Do you know what it is? The way I see it, I feel like everything is a process. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you, for example, you teach this person this path, right?
Yeah.
He gets really good at that. So now you can go level. Like, my team still work with, but just to clarify, my team still work with the, like, you know, the guys that don't make, you know, our minimum requirement right now, the 6 figures. But I just feel like leverage. It's just, for me, it's leverage. It's, if I really want to get to this mission as quick as possible, I'm just have to jump. And the people I trained can now take care of that. And that's just the story of life, right? And then those people are going to take care of them. And then those people eventually, do you know what I'm saying?
I hear it, but if I ain't there, if we're not putting in that work for that zero, bro,
No, I rate that.
I can't lie. I just feel like there's no other outlet. There's no other support system for them.
No, I can
like,
rate that, and it's needed because look, the answer to your question is not that deep. He won't have to serve them for life. He'll put instructors and teachers in place that can run it for him while he's doing more leveraged things.
That's exactly what I believe.
I know.
Now, for example, Hormozy, right? He makes content for business owners, and he was saying, I only serve guys that are making $3 million plus. Now I think it's more than that, right? But I saw him mention in a video recently that one of the most he gets massive viewership from people that don't have a business. He saw that as an opportunity, which is why he invested in school. Do you get me? And what does he do on school? He does a 1 hour call every Monday, once a week. Just gives him some kalam, right? Which is quite valuable. And then that's it. Sam Ovens is the guy that's running school. Do you get me? So it can be done. At the beginning, you got to do the dirt, right? To just build it. But then obviously you've got Abdurrahim or Abdurrahman, I always forget. Abdurrahman, of course. Shout out to Abdurrahman, man.
Yeah, man.
Your partner, Allah, he's doing great work with the brothers, man, on the program. But my point being is that then you guys start delegating and having people there. But
we have a school community as well now.
MashaAllah.
For those juniors, mid-levels, and facilitating them. They are quick wins, bro.
Yeah.
Once people reach that 1 and you give them the formula of how to get to 10, they'll implement it. They have all those.
Okay, so you're taking 0 to 1 and 1 to 10.
Yes.
Lovely. My thing is
that I love. Yeah, that I'm good with.
Glad we came to agreement.
No, it's solid.
You know what it's for me, Akhi? It's like, I don't know, man. Like I have very, very like audacious goals. Like I'm trying to make a lobby for the Muslims that's gonna have the combined net worth of trillions in assets. Because we have that. It's just scattered and no one's bringing them together. Do you get me? But what do you do with that? Like, look what these Zionists are doing, bro. They're so calculated, bro. Like, all right, let me take a step back, yeah? There's a brother. Inshallah, you guys might meet him after the retreat. He's the CEO of a digital marketing agency here. It's one of the biggest digital marketing agencies in the world, right? It's number 2 in the Middle East and number 7 in the world. His clients are like Emirates Airlines, Emaar, Demac Properties, Uber, DP World, right? Crazy. I started with a practicing brother, lihya, down here, mashallah, tabarakallah. But just seeing the way this guy operates, I was like, bro, why is there not a single chairman of a masjid that operates like that? Or a guy that runs a madrasa or some type of an Islamic program? This level of operation execution is what's allowing him to drive those type of results. You know, if you could just bring that level of skill onto an Islamic project, a charity, an educational school, Islamic media, whatever it might be. Bro, the level of operation and execution and what you get in terms of output is ridiculous. These guys operate on a different level. So my thing is, these goals that we're trying to achieve, I want to be able to, I want to build my own university like Sheikh Ibn Baz did. I think about all the khair that came out of Islamic University of Medina. I want to have something like that. Not everyone can go to Medina and study now. Something that's going to be the state of the art, the best Islamic university in the modern world. I want to build that, inshallah. I want to build my own version of CNN or BBC, right? I want to build my own version of a lobby that serves the needs of the Muslims. I want to build my own fund. We're in the process of having a fund where people can invest and have access to oil trade, real estate, tech startups, whatnot. It's very complex, very complicated, right? These type of things that will be able to provide high leveraged impact for the Muslims, right? My thing is to operate at that level, I need to be with savages in terms of like, the best analogy that I have is, you know, when you do close quarter combat and, for example, you know, when you clear the room, like when a soldier goes in and he clears the room, he clears the room one way and then the guy that's behind him is going to clear the other corner. And everyone's relying upon the other guy to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes. It's blind trust, bro. And you've got to be so well in terms of the way you execute every footstep. Like the guy who makes the first move forward, I was watching the video, if he moves his foot slightly too far forward or too far back, when he pivots, he's going to leave the guy behind him exposed. But every guy's operating, there's 10, 20 of them operating back to back. And just the way they're moving, just clearing the rooms, getting in, taking hostages or clear, whatever. And it's just like, I know the guy's got my back, right? I know he's got they call it, he's got my 6. Like, he's watching my 6. So when I'm at this level, it's like, I can't work with guys that are telling me, my wife's bugging me, so I couldn't turn up to work. You know what I'm saying? I can't have guys like, I'm sorry, like I don't pray Fajr in the masjid because I sleep late. Like, it's like, bruv, I can't do that because I'm not going to make that progress. Do you know what I'm saying? That needs to be those. But at the same time, I'm conscious because that's like maybe a few hundred people that operate at that level. They need teams of people that they're going to hire that you're obviously going to produce. Do you know what I'm saying? To enter into those infrastructures that allow about it. So I don't think it's a thing of what's right or what's wrong. It's just about everyone knowing the place that they play and ultimately serves the ummah.
How do you think we could get that collaborative approach? Because sometimes I feel like we're more
I'm already thinking
than collaborative.
So I'm right, and that has to stop.
Bro, if I go online, I will get more support than from random white guy in tech, bro.
I'll tell you
They'll
something.
DM me, get me support, and I'll have Muslims out there talking bad on mine. This is real talk, bro.
So you know when we talked about that qualifier thing, 7 figures one of them, right? This is another one. Like, anyone who wants to mess with us, if he's trying to break the fabric of the brotherhood and the unity, because anyone who's going to try and break this up, the Prophet would not allow the Sahaba to beef like that. So coming back to your point, that collaboration is necessary. I already have an idea for you. Inshallah. You know the brother I told you about, the one who's got the investment fund for tech startups. His companies are always looking for high-end developers. Now, I don't know if there's going to be that synergy.
I got a massive pool of the engineers, senior developers, senior engineers.
So he's coming on Wednesday, inshallah. And even having him come into your community and to talk to the man. And this is a brother who invested in, for example, Seller? You heard of Seller? It's the Shopify of the Middle East. Right? So these guys invested in it when it was worth 3 million. They invested $500,000, was worth over $1 billion now. They just recently invested in an operational cybersecurity company in Saudi Arabia that the founders are brothers along very. So to have someone like that come in and talk to your guys, it's going to be different, inshallah. So I'm already thinking like, how? Do you know what I'm saying?
But how do you size a man up to know? How do you smell a rat? Because like, I recently went on a pod, and I remember just before I sat on the pod, the brother was like, you know what? Before you came on the pod, I got a message from a brother telling me, you should avoid, you should be careful. Whereas like this, whereas all ambiguous stuff, right? Nothing of substance. Bro, man's never spoken bad on this brother ever. I pulled out my phone in front of him during the pod, showed him the messages, said, look, you could scroll, you could check everything. Played a voice note on the pod, exposing him. Yeah, I went a bit mad. I can't lie. I kind of lost my head.
But wait, he brought it up on the pod?
He brought it up on the pod. So I was just like, right, this is public now. And I think, especially if we're going to keep this collaboration, rats need to be outed, innit? Where you can't be...
Just make sure it doesn't become bigger fitna. Like,
of course, that's the thing.
It might be wiser to cut it and deal with it privately.
I got drawn out. I'll be honest. I hear you. Sometimes it happens, innit?
I hear you.
I keep it real. I get heat, man's from ends sometimes. It comes out, it's like, yo, I got drawn out.
Entrepreneurs from the ends, I love them. I love them.
I remember the brother was like, hey, your thing's gangster after. He's like, your thing's so... How did you just pull... I said, bro, go on my phone, man. Check every message about him. See if I've ever said anything bad about him. Go on my... And like, subhanAllah, it's like, raw, this guy's... I never expected it. Imagine I've sat with you, think you're cool, sat with Fawaz. Bro, you can never catch me saying, yo, bro, I said this about that.
You know the answer to your question?
Yeah.
It's female behavior. A female can act like a man, come like a tranny, but she's always going to come on a period. You know what I'm saying? You're going to know. The rat's going to come in, but his period's going to come. And when it comes, because I'm not going to now have negative assumptions. And start that, because I've done that. Wallahi, I've done that. I've said to Abu Bakr, I don't like this brother's vibe. Wallahi, he turned out to be so good. He turned out to be such a brother of khair. Wallahi, I've gone to Abu Bakr, I'm like, my instincts are kicking in, and I was completely wrong, and I was happy I was completely wrong.
Yeah.
That, you know what I'm saying? But my thing is, I'll sit with you. I'll give you the respect that's due to a Muslim, and I'll have that good thought. But if you're a female, you're gonna come on your period, bro. And then it's salamu alaikum. I can't, I'm not your mahram. Also, another way is act through references. Do you know what I'm saying? Through brothers that are trustworthy. You know what I'm saying? One thing as a rule, Act, and maybe people can just take this online. Forgive me, I feel like I'm talking too much. I want to pass it back to you, man. But even within the community, I was actually angry at some of the brothers that brought it to my attention.
Why wasn't it patterned? Why wasn't
yeah.
Why was it?
And their thing is like, Act, the brother done business with my man. He came in and said, so I was like, Act, the Prophet ﷺ told us what the criteria is. Let him bring proof. البينة على المدعي. The burden of proof is on the one who makes the claim. Where's the proof? I said, if someone comes to me and says something scandalous, I take it just because you done business with him. You brought me something scandalous. Oh, thank you. Where's the proof? If you bring me that proof, I promise you, I will never rock with this guy. But it's just kalam. You know what I'm saying? And then like you brought the receipts.
Yeah, on site.
What you for? Because I can see right now you're thinking about all the snakes that have tried to up you. I swear in your eyes.
It's just normal. It's just normal, man.
It's adi.
I think once you pay attention to them, that's where the issue arises. For me, it's like just keep doing the thing until like, you know what I'm saying? You just like, for a second, I'm sure you know that period where I focused on them for like 2 minutes and I almost lost sight of what I was trying to build, man. And that from that time, I decided like, I'm never giving these guys like a day.
What happened?
It's just a sticky situation. Do you know how it is, man? Brothers just,
you don't have to go into
they're just
the
weird. The people are very, very weird. SubhanAllah. And especially like when, like not even like when you're pure hearted, but when you love for your brothers what you love for yourself, which is what, the Prophet says, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه, right? None of you are a true believer until you wish for your brother what you wish for yourself. When you genuinely wish someone khair and you big up people's thing, and people are just weird, SubhanAllah. Like, for me, it's just like, it's part of the game, I think. Like, people always try something, always try come on something. Look, we all have got things that we wish we rectified or we could have done in a better way or blah, blah, blah. But the problem comes when these things are unnecessarily mentioned and number two, blown out of proportion, right? Which is what happens a lot of the time. And like I said, anyone who's coming to me with stories is just as bad as the guy who created the story in the first place, right? Because it should have been dealt with. And that's just how I see it. I think as entrepreneurs, we need to learn in certain ways to keep our circles tight, right? Not saying like you can't network with brothers, but know who your real guys are. I think that's really, really important. Like I'll stay in a room full of 100 guys, 100 entrepreneurs, 100 brothers, and I'll show every single brother love. But when it comes to it, you have to know who's in your corner, who's with you. Because a lot of I always say, when bad press comes, you lose a lot of guys, man. You lose a lot of guys when bad press comes. So you have to know who's really in your corner.
It's that act, but also I think it's also setting culture. Like, because when you look at it, Sahaba, they were a massive amount, right? But they literally had that brotherhood act. Like to the point where one of them's dying, and they're bringing him water, and he's saying, no, go to my brother there, he's dying, he's more in need of water than me. Then he would say, no, go to the next one. And then he would say, no, go back to the first one, and they're all dead, right? And they weren't like close like that. But you know what I love about what the Prophet ﷺ did? He set a culture where if there was that sense of behavior which is inappropriate, that's going to create discontent, right? Or not discontent, sorry, but fitna, yeah, like rupture between the fabric of the brotherhood. The Prophet ﷺ stamped it out. So I think that's very important. Like, if we take this forward, because what you mentioned is big. Like, we can't do this on our own, right? Collaboration is necessary. A man cannot wash his face with one finger. You need the whole hand. If we sense it, it has to be strangled and choked. Say, don't bring your period around here,
Yeah,
we don't mess with females.
Sometimes, I'll be honest, I think it's behavior you can't teach, man. Like, maybe I'm just too hood, like, in terms of, like, if you either got it or you don't. You ever have that, like, level of, do you know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you something. For example, let's just say a brother's sitting here and we're sitting, he's backbiting. If one of us says, don't backbite, would he ever do it again?
Not in front of us.
Right? Yeah. But I'm saying, but the brothers that he's around, imagine
enabling.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. So we've set culture now. Now, fall in line.
And you raised a good thing earlier where you don't want to now have that trauma response where you're assuming bad at people and really they turn out to be a good brother and you got that barrier and now you're blocking that collaboration because of one bad apple or a few bad apples. So, and I can't lie to you, the other day I was sitting with a good friend of mine and it shows like if you're really doing good and you're really doing work in the field, your character reference will be serious, right? Like I had a brother that literally spoke about you for like half an hour, just bigging you up, 40 minutes saying from back in the days, everything, he knew you very well, constantly just saying khair about you. So shout out to the, because you don't even realize the impact you sometimes do because you've been in this game for a minute. So people from 10 years ago, the impact that you've done still resonates, my brother. So you'll see that, and you'll often see that people's language, right? Rats are operating a certain way. So when they're a bit negative because they're seeing you're doing well and it's ambiguous and there's no dalil, it's just like, oh yeah, I heard he's like this. Or I don't really rate him because of something ambiguous, yeah? Like, kalam that, you know what gender does that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? No need to, but that's what you generally see. It's not something of substance. It's not something tangible.
Yeah, but bro, that's the exact reason why I don't believe in focusing on it, man. If you do enough khair, it doesn't matter what anyone says. Eventually, like it's just, like, I have that concept. You do what you're supposed to do. Even if no one's there to defend you, Allah's going to defend you. You just be right about the way you handle things in public and in private, man. And leave it to no man to handle. Yani, protecting your reputation is what I've learned as well. At the end of the day, you want brothers, of course, but like I said, if the good you've done is that much, it's you know what I'm saying, no one can take it away from you at the end of the day. And Allah will protect your reputation. I've seen it in times where like people, like I was against the wall, but it's like enough people will come and be like, we don't know him for that. Like what you're telling, we can't even believe it, even if we wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So alhamdulillah, we ask Allah to obviously rectify our affairs, public and private.
I actually benefit this from one of my ops, man. I was going after him hard, right? Back in the Dawah days. I won't mention who.
So you feel my pain, didn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to just go for them.
You have to go for them. You have to go for them. And I remember he said something that I hated. When he said it, I was like, okay. He's like, let your response to your haters be the deafening sound of your action. He said, I don't respond to my haters. I was like, okay.
Fair play.
I said, you're bougie. You're bougie art. I was like, yeah. I said, okay. I said, nah,
and
no.
The talk gets quiet, bro, because I'm telling you, sometimes responding, it just creates a bigger fire. That's what I've learned, man. That's like, I think you remember that period where I came to you, I was like, I'm about to set fire.
Yeah.
I was so on it. But wallah, it distracts you from the mission, it distracts you from what you're building. And
it does, man.
Yeah, man.
That's the hard thing about social media. It doesn't correlate to real life. Like, if you grew up in ends and you grew up on certain principles, you know you can't say stuff or do certain stuff because you might buck into my man. You know there's consequences. But a man could just sit on Twitter now, you know, like, and just talk. And you're there at home, like, you know, you're not being stoic again, and you can't do that. And you're there, like, now you're potentially worse.
It's a different
world. It's a difficult one.
It's a different world.
Because you're like, bro, I know this, I sat with this person, but I can't do that. And like,
you know, this is just a funny thing. You know, the brother Abu Bakr from Spot Charity, Roadside to Islam. I mean, I couldn't vote. I'm still known for Roadside to Islam, but he's Spot Charity now in Gambia. So what he used to do, if someone would tweet about him, he would just pull up to the masjid. He wouldn't respond to his tweet. He would just get in his car, drive, pull up, lock eyes with man. Sometimes the guy who talked about him is giving a talk in the masjid and he's just sitting there in the back of the masjid, looking at him the whole time. No. His thing is, if you're a real man, don't tweet about me, bro. Talk to me. And he'd be like, cool, I sat here. Man didn't address me. He's not on it. He didn't go to do anything violent. Like, he just went to confront the man on a man thing, right? And then he just went back and the guy never talked about him ever again. So I you know, mashallah, you know, confronting these people, it does do that. But look, let's bring it back, inshallah, what we started with. Obviously, it's the month of Ramadan. And we talked about, you know, building great things, man, for Allah's sake. And I think it wasn't tangent what we talked about here, because building great things, you need to protect those great things that you're building. And that toxic energy and toxic people will always be there to try to break the greatness that you're trying to build. right? The Prophet ﷺ had hypocrites that were more of a threat to him than the disbelievers were, because they're internal. Do you know what I'm saying? So definitely it's very important to keep that in mind. But I have a question for both of you. I'd like you guys to answer, and then we can end it on this, inshallah. It's the month of the Quran. What is an ayah from the Quran that relates, or it could even be a hadith, that relates closely to the work that you're trying to do for the Muslims right now? Right? I'm sure there's something where you're like, you know what? That has affected me or motivates me, or, you know, I fall back on it, and it's the thing that, you know, helps me on this mission. Go on, Fawaz, I'll start with you.
Yeah, رجال لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة يخافون يوما تتقلب فيه القلوب والأبصار. So Allah's mentioned in the verse that these are men, he's describing men that they are not distracted, you know, by business or commerce, you know, that they establish salah, they give zakah, you know, and they're scared of the day where their hearts are going to be and their eyes are going to be overturned. So for me, this is my mission. We can live by design. We can't live to our full potential. And I think when people say you have to be one or the other, you either have to be that great businessman or be this great, you know, the Prophet was able to be the best father, the best husband, the best everything. So it's about helping people fulfill that full potential, because it's dangerous when you realize as a man what you're actually capable of. SubhanAllah.
I say it's dangerous when you realize what you're actually capable of.
Yeah.
Who's the danger towards?
Everyone, especially you, right? Like when you actually, like, I think the biggest issue I have with men, entrepreneurs, everyone, is they don't see how much they have inside them, you know? And they don't see how minor changes in the way they operate daily could be the massive difference in terms of their output. Just minor changes, just minor things if they involved in their day, or things if they removed or optimized or fixed, like the impact it could have on their day, like on the output long term as well. It's just nuts. And that's one thing I've realized, that never underestimate a small amount of change, because change compounds, you know? And what you could have achieved is completely different, man. SubhanAllah. If you actually sought to have become that person who just executes, who performs at 100% rate, even if you feel like you're a high performer, imagine what we could achieve if we could boost that performance.
Allahu Akbar. Allah, barakallah feet, man. Is it true they say you only use like 10% of your actual brain?
Yeah, and it's 100% fact, especially in today's world. I'd almost argue it's less.
That's mad. So how much of my brain can I actually use if I...
Like, you'll be shocked, is what I mean. Like, I'm telling you, like, we've taken people from like lack of clarity, they don't know why, but they feel, you know, it's funny because every single person that ever came to us felt like they were performing at a high level. And then after, they're like, okay, I have a different understanding of what it means to perform at a high level now. So it's, like I said, like, it's exponential. It's just genuine, because if I told you 60%, you're probably going to add what, like 50% to whatever you're toiling right now. But that's not how it works. A 10% increase over even a long period of time is massive, you know? So things compound. And I wish we'd realize that, inshallah.
Barakallah feet, man. Murrad, what about yourself, bro?
You know, when I was hearing you say that, the one thing that popped up into my mind was الرجال قوامون على النساء, which you kind of spoke about when we did our pod. And I was remembering it because sometimes when I'm taking the brothers from 0 to 1, you've now got them to that level where they're able to support, protect the women around them, be able to, you know, fund them, support them in all these ways. And unless we get empowered in that sense, the alternative is just watching other people call the shots for you.
Barakallah feet, man. Wallahi, brothers, you guys are both doing a fantastic job, man. And ask Allah to really aid you guys on your journey and to give you utmost success. I have to be honest, brothers, you know, I'm really excited to see where you guys are going to be 10 years from now. Because it's crazy the impact you're already having, and you guys have actually just started, right? In terms of these projects, even though I know there's a lot that's been going on behind the scenes, but publicly, this is still early, and it's already way more impactful than I was when I started. And I ask Allah to make this sincere for His sake, and to allow you guys to do some crazy things, man. I mean. So with that said, it's Ramadan. So we gave you that dose of inspiration and clarity so you can get it cracking and start building something great yourself for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. But make sure you don't lose out on that opportunity to read that Quran and to make your salawat in the masjid, not just tarawih, but the 5 daily prayers. If you guys want to know where you can find Brother Murrad and Fawaz, we've got their links below, inshallah, to their socials and, of course, their programs as well. If you're an entrepreneur doing 6 figures and above and you want to unlock those bottlenecks in your life and put systems in place for your life so you can perform at a high level the same way you have systems in place for your business, then Fawaz will help you do that. And if you're a person who's in the tech space or looking to get into the tech space and you're looking to double your salary or get onto a very high paying salary, 6 figures and above, possibly get that location freedom, that financial freedom, then Murrad is here, man. So please check him out. I actually spoken to his team and had a very close relationship with them and saw them build this project from its infancy to where it's at now. And a lot of people are benefiting. I've seen that firsthand. I've seen the results. So make sure you check out whoever you feel is going to be most beneficial to you at the link below. With that said, may Allah bless you. Subhanak Allahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum. I have a question for you. Are you tired of being the richest person in the room? Fed up of being around either broke Muslims or disbelievers who are wealthy? Well, if that's the case, then let me introduce you to the Muslim Wealth Syndicate. It's our ultra exclusive high value network for 7 to 9 figure Muslim entrepreneurs. Just over the last few months, our members have brokered deals over $10 million plus in counting. This is where you'll find global CEOs, 9-figure entrepreneurs, tech founders, influencers that are 7-figure entrepreneurs online, students of knowledge, and so much more that are coming together to do business, support each other, and also to serve the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, we have a very rigorous selection process. In fact, we let less than 1.8% of the applications to the network actually go through. And it's because of that vigorous process that we can boast the caliber of people that we have. For example, we have a brother who's been on Forbes 30 under 30. We have a brother who's got over $100 million invested in real estate, 100% riba free. And for that reason, we're very, very picky about the type of people that we let in. So at this point, you're probably thinking, how can I secure my place? And I have some terrible news for you, and that is that you cannot. You cannot just secure your place like that. The only way to get in is either through an invitation by me personally or a referral by someone who's already amongst our ranks, inshallah ta'ala. Now, for those of you that are watching that are like, wait, this doesn't apply to me at all, I'm not even making 7 figures a year, we have something for you to help train you and coach you to get to those type of numbers. And that is our Righteous and Rich Skills Academy. We're currently running a 7-day free trial, which you can access from the link below. And hopefully on the back of that, you can get to that 7-figure mark and hopefully one day get the attention of someone who's in the Muslim Wealth Syndicate who can give you that referral.